Greetings, friends and future friends. Today I want to talk about scales, guitar scales, keyboard scales. You're going to learn them all and all the keys. Wait a minute. No, I'm not going to teach you all the exotic scales, like the minor flatted 13th times the square root of whatever. I'm not going to teach you all those scales. I'm going to keep you in the modal scale family. The minor, Locrian, major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian. Those guys. And I'm going to show you how to play all those scales and all the keys on the keyboards and the guitar. That's going to be cool. But I'm not going to use an instrument. What I'm going to do is show you these two little apps I designed and I built. What you're going to do is click on the links below and it's going to take you there. This is an itch.io site. This is actually a gaming site. So these are actually games. Now, you don't have to download anything. These are HTML5 files. So what they're going to do, you bring them up in your browser, bring that link up in your browser, go there, and boom. Now you've got the guitar transposer and the keyboard transposer right in your browser. And from there, I'll show you later in this video how you can use these things to understand the scales. If you're like me, it's always been hard to learn all these scales. But when you think about it, these scales are all kind of mathematically connected. Again, we're not talking about the exotic scales and the harmonic minors and all that stuff. We're just talking about the standard modal scale family. And once you learn that mathematics, you'll see it all fits together. So let's get to learning how to use the guitar transposer and the keyboard transposer. So when you click on either one of these links, it'll bring you to this itch.io site. Now, I might sound repetitive on both of these transposers, but I want you to get all the information because some of you might watch the keyboard and not the guitar, and some of you might watch the guitar and not the keyboard. So I might sound repetitive when you go through this video, but I want to make sure you get all the information you can on these transposers. So you clicked on the guitar transposer, and it brings you to this site, this itch.io site. Now, when you first get here, you'll see there's a video you can watch. It's an older video, but you could watch it if you want. A description of what's going on. Support this tool. Hey, if you want to help me a little bit, that would be cool. And, of course, you don't have to do anything. You can just hit Run Tool. And that's what we're going to do right now. We'll hit Run Tool. Brings up Construct 3. That's how I built it. And voila, here is the guitar scale transposer. Now, as you first look at it, you'll see that this is a 24-fret guitar, and there's little green dots all over it. Well, right now, what we're looking at is a A
minor.
This is an A minor scale. So this A minor scale is all lit up on the fretboard with the green dots, and the red dots are the root notes. So you can see all the A's that are on that fretboard right there, and this is in the A
minor.
But one thing you got to look at also is that it's also C
major.
Now we go up to the C here, and it's actually C major. Now, where I'm going with this is two things. One, I want you to look at this guitar fretboard because now you're going to see all these notes on the fretboard. And also look down in here, and you'll see that these scales are all relative to each other. So an A
minor
is the same thing as a B,
Locrian,
a C
major,
a D,
Dorian,
E,
Phrygian,
F,
Lydian,
G.
Mixolydian.
All those are the same notes. The scale patterns or the note patterns on this fretboard did not move. The only thing that moved was the roots. So that's the first thing you want to know, is that when you move these notes, they're going to be relative to each other. So we could go over here and we can move it. Now we're at B
minor.
And there's the B right there. And now you have the minor. Matter of fact, there's the B minor. 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. That B minor pattern right there. So what am I trying to say? Instead of learning, let's reset. Instead of learning all these scales, I mean, you know, F Phrygian, F major, F, all this stuff, you basically need to learn a C major scale. A C
major
on the guitar. And you'll learn the other. You'll actually learn A minor, B Locrian, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, and G Mixolydian all at the same time. So, two things to take away from this. One, learn the notes on the fretboard, but also use this scale transposer to figure things out. Now, for me,
minor,
I'm a heavy metal guy. A minor and E minor, I know all over that guitar. I mean, I've been playing it for so long. E minor and A minor, it's just burned into me. Well, guess what? If you said, hey, John, can you play me in a D or a E Lydian or a E Dorian? Say E Dorian. Let's go. Okay, there's E
Dorian,
E Dorian. Okay, well, E Dorian. Okay, that's cool. Well, guess what that is? That's also B
minor,
So now what have I done? I'm actually playing B minor because there's the B. There's that 1 2 4 1 3 4 1 2 4 pattern. It's actually B minor, but it's actually E Dorian, which right here is the Dorian. There's that Dorian pattern right here. Ba 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 ba. So what does that mean? That means that you can learn those patterns. If you learn C major on that guitar, you can actually move that whole pattern up and down that guitar and know all these scales without spending hours of learning individual each scales. Now, granted, there are some patterns that that you can use, and some people will teach you different patterns that really stand out. That's cool. And this is not the exotic scales, harmonic minors, and all the different things you can do there. This is basically the modal scale family. And with that so let's go back to reset. You can see that all those notes on that fretboard are all A minor, and they're all C major. Those are all the notes on the fretboard. So, two things you want to use this thing for. One, you want to find out where the notes are on actual fretboard. And two, you can use it for transposing scales. Hey, I got a friend of mine that's, into jazz, and he knows the Dorian scale all over the freaking guitar. He knows all these Dorian patterns. If you said, hey, man, can you play me a G Phrygian? Well, let's go over here. There's a
Phrygian,
G Phrygian, but that's actually an F
Dorian,
So now he can go over here and say, okay, man, you want me to play a G Phrygian? Okay, what's a G Phrygian scale going to look like? Oh, man, I don't know. Wait,
Dorian,
that's an F Dorian. And I know Dorian. And if you go over here is on the 13th fret. There's that F, because there's the 12th, it's E. And 1 2 4 1 3 4 1 3 4. There's that Dorian pattern. But guess what? That's actually G
Phrygian,
Ta-da! Because there's actually the Phrygian. You can see the Phrygian right here. 1 2 4 1 2 4 right here. That's the Phrygian pattern right there. But again, without sounding too redundant, two things you can use this transposer for. Let's go back to reset. Use it to find notes on the fretboard, and also to calculate what minor scales or something. Different people talk about relative scales. You can actually figure that out if you wanted to. The A minor is actually E Phrygian. So that's a different scale. It's in relationship to it. And what I've also done on here is on the whammy bars, I put a click. So if you're in A minor, say you're in A minor, let's go back to reset. You're in A minor. You say, hey man, what would it be if we transpose up 2 frets? Okay, 1 2. Count the clicks. 1 2. Now that's B minor, and then that would be the B minor right there. So you actually came up 2 frets. So without sounding redundant, you kind of know what it is. You can figure it out. And if you have any questions, you go to the question mark. This over here turns you back puts you right back to the transposer. If you click here, how to use a guitar transposer, it brings you up to this page, shows you when this is lit up. This is the note that's the root note, and that's the scale it's in. The red notes are the root notes. The green dots are the actual scale notes. And you move the notes up and down the fretboard over here, reset, and again, you kind of can figure it out. And then when you're done, all you got to do is either click on this or tap on it, and it brings you right back to the scale transposer. And also, if you want to, you can go here and you can go to my website, Outside Darkness Heavy Metal website, or you can go to my YouTube channel. Greetings, friends and future friends. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Reverend John Michaels. We're glad you showed up. So, that's back here. Go back. If you're in your browser and you go back from my YouTube channel, it'll actually bring you back in and restart that page, and you're back to the transposer. So there you go, the guitar transposer. So you clicked on the keyboard transposer and it brings you to this site. Now, what you can do is once you're here, you can see you have a definition, a description of what you're looking at, and leave a comment. Also support this tool. If you'd like to help me out, that would be great, but you don't have to. And you'll see above the keyboard transposer run tool. So then all we have to do is click on it or tap on it if you're using your phone. And boom, brings you to a Construct 3 powering. That's where I built this thing in Construct 3, and here you go. We got the keyboard transposer. Now you can see you have a keyboard layout up on top, and you have all these scales down below. And if we go to A
minor,
now you see that these green dots, some of them have turned red. And what that's going to do is give you the root notes, because there's the A right there, and we're on A minor. And if we go to C
major,
we now have gone to the C. And there's the C right there from E, D, C. There it is right there. Now you can see it's a C major. But already you see something here. All these notes are the same. And matter of fact, if we go down here and hit reset, you go back to A minor, A minor and C
major
are the same notes. They are all the same notes. They're all the white keys on the keyboard. So if you're playing all the white keys on the keyboard, you're playing C major, or B,
Locrian,
or D,
Dorian,
or E,
Phrygian,
or F,
Lydian,
or G.
Mixolydian.
G Mixolydian is all the white keys on the keyboard. So, two things you need to look at when you're using this transposer. One, look at it as in
Minor.
comparing scales to scales. As I've said in guitar, now on keyboards, basically, I'll do this. We'll go over here and now you hit the plus and minus to transpose this. So let's go over here to E minor. I know E minor on the keyboards. A lot of heavy metal we played was E minor. And I'm always playing that, F sharp, G flat, whatever you want to call it, right here. But if you look, there's the E minor. So now, how do you do things? You can transpose things. That E minor is right there. And you can see how it works just by transposing it. But that's actually
Major.
G major, because there's the G right there. And G major is the exact same notes as E
Minor.
Boom. So what this does is two things. One, you're actually going to see the notes on the keyboard. If we go back to reset, you'll actually see the notes on the keyboard, but you'll also see how you can transpose things. So if you want to play something in a different scale, or you want to play an E Dorian, so let's go to E. There's an E Dorian.
Dorian.
That's the same thing as B minor.
Minor.
Which is funny, playing the blues, I know B minor, and there it is right there. That C sharp, D flat, and right here, that F sharp, G flat right there. And that's kind of a bluesy kind of thing, but that's actually E Dorian.
Dorian.
So again, two ways to use this. You will be able to, hit reset, you'll be able to take and look at those notes on that keyboard and see where they are, but you're also going to be transposing these scales down below. Because again, if you wanted to play a C Lydian, let's go to C Lydian. Here's a C Lydian.
Lydian.
Wow, C Lydian is the same thing as an E minor.
Minor.
So if you're playing an E minor, which is there's the E minor, or I know that F sharp right there. E minor, that's the same thing as C Lydian.
Lydian.
So now you're playing the exact same notes. So now there you go. I'm doing something in C Lydian. Well, I can play E minor, and it's the same notes. Now, granted, a lot of keyboards can be transposed on the decks, and you can change things that way. But with this scale transposer here, we can reset, and then we can transpose it up or down. And there you go. Now,
Again, two things to use this thing with. Use it to transpose and figure out what scales work with what scales. A minor and a E
Phrygian,
or a D.
Dorian,
Those scales work together. But then also look at how you can transpose things. If you want to say, now I did the same thing I did with the guitar transposer. I put clicks in here. And when you do the clicks, that way you're saying, "Hey, we're in A minor, but what would that be if we jump up three notes? Let's jump up a whole step. That'd be two clicks. So we'll go 1, 2. Now we're at B minor. If you wanted to go up, we'll get back reset. Say we want to hit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's D minor now.
minor,
And there you go. And that's actually a
Dorian,
G Dorian and a C.
Mixolydian,
There you go. And then back to reset. So again, without repeating myself too much, this is the keyboard. These green dots are all the notes in the keyboards.
minor,
The red dots show the root notes. And you can transpose them up and down. And a little side note, these pictures right here on this transposer, I actually took on my Korg PA5X. Modified them, of course, but they look pretty good. Hit back reset. And again, if you have any questions, go to the questions. You hit the blue scale transposer, return to scale transposer. It brings you back. Hit the question mark. Again, how to use scale transposer. It'll bring you to this site, which shows you the root notes. The green notes are actually the notes in the scale. And when it's lit up in the green, it shows that's the scale that's the root note is showing. And you can transpose these scales up and down on the with the buttons. Hit reset. And if you just tap on it, if you're using your phone, just tap on the screen or just click on it and it'll bring you back to the transposer. You can also go to my Outside Darkness Heavy Metal webpage or go to my YouTube channel.
Greetings, friends and future friends. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Reverend John Michaels.
We're glad you're here. And if you go, now if you're in some other website, if you go there like you came to my YouTube channel, if you go back, what it's going to do is bring you to this site and actually reload that HTML5 and boom, you're back to the scale transposer for keyboards.
So, I hope this video helps you understand the keyboard and guitar transposer and how to use it. And remember, bookmark that thing in your browser, and if you ever need to understand a scale or have a question about a scale, just access it, and it'll take you right to that tool, and boom, you're going to be learning that scale. So take care, my friends, and thanks for watching.